Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're tuning in. Today, we're describing a really fascinating shift happening right now in the world of electric mobility. We'll be looking closely at how the Indian manufacturer Ultraviolette is engineering some pretty unprecedented safety tech and, honestly, incredible versatility into their new electric motorcycle, the X-47. And, we're not just talking about a cool new bike today. We're actually unpacking a fundamental, kind of hidden problem with electric vehicles that you might not even realize exists. So I want you to start by just imagining this for a second. Picture yourself navigating dense, chaotic, bumper-to-bumper city traffic. Now ask yourself, how do you stay safe on a completely silent motorcycle? For over a century, riders have instinctively relied on the roar or the hum of an engine as a crucial auditory warning system, right? It tells pedestrians you're coming, and it gives you, the rider, this physical, visceral sense of speed and presence. When you take all that noise away, well, what actually happens? Well, researchers actually have a name for this. They call it the EV acoustic paradox. Traditional internal combustion engine vehicles, your standard gas bikes, provide auditory feedback. It's this involuntary, constant warning signal that naturally alerts everyone around you. But then we have the paradox of the EV. These near-silent motors create what's known as acoustic masking. Essentially, the silence totally removes those involuntary warnings. So suddenly, electronic safety systems aren't just some fancy add-on. They become an absolute, non-negotiable necessity to protect riders, especially in their blind spots. Which brings us to Section 1, the digital sixth sense, powered by the UV HyperSense radar system. To solve this acoustic paradox, Ultraviolette integrated this seriously incredible piece of tech. UV HyperSense is a 77 GHz rear-facing active radar system. It is literally designed to act like eyes in the back of your head. It compensates for the limits of human vision by giving you constant spatial monitoring up to 200 meters behind you. That's roughly 2 football fields. And what's absolutely brilliant about how they engineer this is that it's tuned specifically for motorcycle dynamics. That means it seamlessly adapts to the bike leaning into corners at up to 20 degrees. No way a standard car radar is doing that. So in the real world, this means the X-47 is maintaining a persistent digital envelope around you at all times. You've got blind spot monitoring to catch those fast-approaching vehicles. You've got lane change assist and overtake alerts, so you are always totally aware of what's happening in the lanes next to you. But honestly, my favorite feature is the rear collision warning. If the radar detects someone coming up too fast behind you and threatening a rear-end collision, it bypasses the rider entirely and automatically fires off the bike's hazard lights to warn the driver behind you. It's totally proactive, not just reactive. Moving right along to Section 2, Kinetic Management, featuring smart dynamics and safety. Okay, so capturing all that environmental data is great, but it's useless if the bike can't physically respond. That's where the Ultraviolette's dynamic stability control system comes in. It gives you highly granular control over the electric motor's massive torque. We're talking 9 distinct levels of regenerative braking, plus 3 levels of traction control to stop rear wheel slip. But here is the really crucial part. The engineers did something incredibly smart. They linked that 9-level regenerative braking directly to the dual-channel ABS. Meaning, if you clamp down on heavy region braking on a slippery, wet road, the computer instantly steps in, talks to the ABS, and prevents the rear wheel from locking up and tossing you into a skid. And of course, all that kinetic management goes hand in hand with internal safety. The X-47 rocks a comprehensive 5-layer battery protection system. They are covering the whole shebang here, from thermal management and mechanical shielding right down to the software control. They actually use cell-level fuses and microsecond electronic monitoring to eliminate hotspots in real time. So the battery isn't just ridiculously powerful, it's protected by redundant circuits and wrapped in a rugged mechanical enclosure that is built to take a beating on rough terrain. All right, Section 3, the crossover philosophy, and how this bike is redefining the motorcycle category. To really understand this design philosophy, we have to look at the environment it was born in. Traditional, rigid Western bike categories, your sports bikes, cruisers, dirt bikes, they honestly fall a bit short when you face the totally unpredictable environments of Indian roads. I mean, a 30-minute ride there can include a smooth highway, a sudden monsoon downpour, and then completely gridlocked traffic. To handle all that, you need serious range, 323 kilometers. That is the massive IDC, or Indian driving cycle range, they managed to pack into the X-47. It's actually the largest battery capacity in Asia for this segment right now. To put that into perspective, you could ride from the Bangalore airport all the way to the Chennai airport, a 300-kilometer journey on just 100 rupees worth of electricity. Think about that. That is an absolute game changer for long-distance commuters. And when it finally is time to plug in, check out this number, 1.6 kilowatts. That is the capacity of the onboard charger, and they managed to tuck it directly inside the X-47's chassis. And notice how it's air-cooled? That's not a compromise. That is a reliability-first solution. It's engineered to function perfectly even in blistering 55 degrees Celsius heat. It protects the battery's long-term health while literally giving you double the efficiency of a lot of their global rivals. This all ties back to one central philosophy, and I want to read this quote from Ultraviolette CEO Narayan Subramaniam because I think it hits the nail on the head. He says, "Most of us are a blend of these personalities. Instead of boxing riders into categories, we built one motorcycle versatile enough to match every side of a rider's life." And you see that in the design. By using an upright, fatigue-mitigating geometry and a really sturdy cast aluminum seat subframe that's ready for luggage and accessories, the X-47 comfortably accommodates the daily commuter grinding through traffic just as well as the weekend thrill seeker who wants to carve up some canyons. Let's zoom out a bit for Section 4, the global roadmap and scaling up production. Ultraviolette has some serious global momentum right now. They are backed by heavy hitters like Lingato, who actually have ties to Exor and Ferrari, as well as Qualcomm Ventures. And they're expanding deep into Europe. Specifically, they're targeting Italy and the DACH region, so Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, and they are already exporting to 19 countries globally. On the domestic front, they're gearing up for an IPO, targeting 1,000 monthly sales. And let's not forget their upcoming Tesseract electric scooter. It already has over 80,000 bookings. 80,000. They are flat out proving that Indian electric platforms can be incredibly competitive on the world stage. Of course, to meet all that demand, they need a massive production ramp-up. They are moving from a current capacity of 60,000 units a year up to a target expansion of 150,000 units, or 1.5 lakh units per year. This Phase 2 expansion is going to be absolutely critical to support both the X-47 crossover and that highly anticipated Tesseract scooter. All right, that brings us to our conclusion, the future of the safe commute. So what is the big takeaway from everything we've looked at today? It's really that the X-47 successfully solves the acoustic paradox, that inherent danger of a totally silent EV. And it does it through this brilliant proactive mix of active radar technology, integrated braking systems, and a deeply human-centric crossover design. It restores the rider's situational awareness and builds a digital safety net that just plain wasn't possible on older mechanical platforms. I want to take a quick second to explicitly say thank you so much for tuning in today. The whole goal of this episode was to describe the ins and outs of the X-47's amazing technology. And honestly, your time and your curiosity are what make diving into these source materials so rewarding. So thank you so much for learning with me. Now, before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final, slightly provocative thought to ponder. With systems like UV HyperSense acting completely autonomously to warn drivers and dynamic stability controls stepping in to save you from skids in literal milliseconds, as electric motorcycles become smarter and frankly more aware than the vehicles around them, will the rider of tomorrow still be a pilot, or are we slowly becoming a passenger? Think about that the next time you see, or rather don't hear, an electric bike on the road. Until next time, stay curious.